Good Monday evening, everyone. Welcome to another Maker Monday. I'm Ian, the Off Kilter Crafter. I hope you've had a great Monday. It has been a rainy, dreary Monday here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I'm also not used to the darkness. I know the windows aren't, the blinds aren't open for you to see, but it started getting dark here around 4:30 today. Not even kidding, it started getting darker here at 4:30 today, and I was just like, what has happened? That post daylight savings time has come to an end, and it is dark at 4:30. Not a fan. Not a fan of it. Hey everyone, we have Heather, we have Sheila, we have Linda, we have Melania, Melania, sorry, really bad with names, I apologize. I'm also still, if you saw me on Handmade by Ying with Donna on Saturday, I was actually joined for a late night Zoom with her and her group, and ended up getting a migraine, and my brain still hasn't quite caught back up from the migraine. I'm feeling a lot better. Things are much, much better, but I have not, it's weird. It's almost like I'm still having like a migraine hangover, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. But anyways, doing much better, but still have that kind of like, yeah, that's going on. Angela's here. Yo, Patty G. Yo, Patty G. What up? I don't know why I want to do that every time I see your name, Patty. It just happens. Anyways, hope you all are having a great Monday. We are in November. Hard to believe it is November of 2022, and it's even harder to believe that in just a few short weeks, I will be joining our friend, Becca, over on her channel and my channel, if we can get the technology to work right. But I'm going to be in her sewing space, and we're going to be sewing together on our So Sweet quilt from from Cotton Cuts. See, I told you it's weird. I'm trying to catch back up. Anyways, the So Sweet mystery has come to a close, or at least the reveal has happened, and we all know what our So Sweet quilts look like. I've looked in the Mystery Quilters group on Facebook. If you are a member there, I've seen all of the pictures, and you've seen all the pictures and posts that people are putting up of their finished quilts. They're looking amazing, and I cannot wait to finish mine. It's really hard for me not to start working on finishing my quilt, but I'm gonna wait until Becca and I are live, and we're both gonna finish our quilts then. What I don't know is if I'm actually going to finish it or not, because I want to add another border. I am 6'2", as if you've been following my channel for any time, you know I am a tall person and I like big quilts, and I cannot lie. And so I want to add an extra border. I always add extra borders onto my Puzzle Mystery quilts to make them a little bit bigger, so I'm going to be doing that. Angela, I'm so glad that you're here. Angela says, first time here for me. Welcome. So glad that you are here. Dela, hey, welcome. Kathleen is here. Carrie's here. Fern is here. Hello. First time for you as well, Fern. I'm so glad that y'all are here, and I'm so happy to have everybody here. So let's talk a little bit about my So Sweet quilt. So as you can see, I have some extra fabric here. So I like to add those extra borders onto my quilts, and it's always hard for me to predict what the borders should be, like what fabrics I should use for my quilts. Cotton Cuts is awesome because they do send you kind of a finishing guide that tells you if you want to expand your quilt and want to add borders, what fabrics would work for the borders. I don't remember what the one for So Sweet was just off the top of my head, but I kind of laid out, what I did is I laid out all my pieces on the floor, and I started looking at what colors are most prevalent in this quilt. And so as I started to kind of abstractly look at my quilt in its pieces and not actually I didn't have the final clue yet, so I didn't know what it was going to look like. But I started to look at what colors were most prevalent. And so in doing so, I saw that there was going to be a lot of pink. There was going to be some of this red parrot fabric and this turquoise fabric. Now my colorway was powdered. So these were the colors that were most prevalent in the pieces that I had. So I knew I wanted to kind of work with those as my colors. And then of course we have this, this is going to be what the the binding is. And I took some time to buy some extra fabric for that. I did buy all of this from Cotton Cuts because they do offer the extra fabric at the end. If you sign up for their email, they'll give you a first kind of dibs on it, and they do announce it in the Facebook group as well. I'm gonna put this off to the side because I grabbed it and I'm not actually gonna be using it tonight. But I knew this collection of 3, it's off the camera a little bit, there we go. I knew this collection of 3 fabrics were gonna be pretty prevalent in it. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be creating a strip of a 6.5 inch of this pink fabric. And then at the cornerstones, I'm going to be making some cornerstone blocks that reflect some of the elements that you see inside the quilt itself. So that being said, I'm not going to be cutting my pink fabric tonight because that would be too much for me to do on live, I feel like. But what we are going to be doing is we are going to be creating some of these cornerstones using the fabric. And if you've done the So Sweet Mystery Quilt, you know that this plays directly off of some of those blocks in the quilt. So I'm going to be making those. Sheila says, I've never had a migraine, so I can't relate to what it feels like. It is not fun. I don't get them very often. This was the first one that I've had in probably over a year. And it's not fun. It's really not fun. Yep, exactly. Fern says it's a matter of laying down in a dark room and that's the only thing that's helped. That's pretty much what I had to do. I know this fabric is just all so gorgeous. I love it. All right, so like I said, I wanted to do the 6.5 inch border out of that pink material, so I needed to figure out what I was gonna do for the cornerstones to fit that. And as you can see here, I have 2 different blocks of 2 different sizes. I forgot when you do half square triangles that you need a little extra fabric to do that. So when I originally cut everything out, as you can see here, I originally cut everything out at 3.5, and I'm like, perfect, excellent, this is gonna work. Well, I forgot all about those cornerstones, half square triangles. I forgot all about that and ended up with a much smaller block than that. So this one's actually 5 3/4 because I messed that up. Not a big deal though. I'm glad I did a test one so that I knew it was wrong and could go back and fix it. So what we're gonna do tonight is we're gonna take our blocks and we're going to create these half square triangles. I wanted to make sure that I was looking at this correctly because quilt math is not my strong suit. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. I'm gonna put those over there. I'm gonna be watching the chat as well. Migraines do suck, absolutely. Melissa, welcome, hello. I'm a first-time live watcher. Love your videos. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad you could catch the live tonight. So as you can see, it's always best to test before you actually implement, because otherwise I would have come out with all my blocks being 5 and 3/4 inch, which wouldn't have been a big deal, but I wanted 6.5 inch total, so I needed to, I need a bigger one. So I'm gonna put this block off to the side, and we're gonna work on creating these half square triangles first. So I'm gonna kind of set everything off to the side. And these are 4.5 inch blocks of fabric, and we're going to be making our half square triangles out of this. Now there are 4 corners to this quilt, so obviously I'm going to be making 4 in total. Now remember, I already made one, it's sitting over there. So I'm going to be taking the rest of these and we're going to be sewing these tonight. It's not going to be a long live tonight, we're just going to, you know, quickly go through this. But I wanted y'all to hang around with me and, just hang out while we work on this. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take, this is a Pilot friction pen. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to mark my center line on my squares from corner to corner. And what that's going to do is that's going to give me a line to sew on, or to sew with. I'm not going to sew on this line. I feel like my speech for the past couple of months, I've like developed a stutter and I don't know where it's come from. I trip over my words a lot more easily. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, probably I have so much going on in my brain and I'm trying to communicate it out all at once and it's not working so well. Anyways, so what I'm doing is I'm just creating that line right down the center and I'm going to be sewing on either side of this line because I'm going to cut right down the middle, which will give me my half square triangles. This will all make sense, I promise. For those who are not familiar with creating half square triangles, this will all make sense very, very shortly. All right, so there's my line. And I am using the friction pins because the moment you iron them, it goes away. Yes, in colder climates, it can come back. And if you live in a colder climate, you may want to wash your project after it's done because that will wash out the lines so that they don't come back. I do have experience with that. I actually took a piece of extra fabric and I put it in the freezer and sure enough those lines came right back. And so I washed it and they didn't come back after that. So Fern, everybody is from everywhere. I literally have wonderful friends from around the globe that join me for this. So we're all from all over the place. I'm from the Dallas-Fort Worth area here in Texas. Oops, I forgot to move the camera. Hold on. Oh, I see that Heather says, I do the opposite. I draw this, she draws her sew lines and just use the ruler to cut. Let me turn it over to this camera. There we go. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually sewing on either side of that line. I'm not sewing on the line that I just drew. I'm using that at my 1/4 inch seam line on my machine. Go down, there we go. Get this lined up, there we go. And now I'm gonna sew. I'm probably going to have to refill my bobbin at some point tonight, so we'll do that when the time comes. But I have right sides together and I'm just sewing down one way. And then I'm gonna trim my threads. I probably could have put the next one on. Oh well, it's fine, no big deal. I'm gonna flip it around and go the opposite way. Whoops, I'm hitting all kinds of wrong buttons tonight. There we go. Oh, Fern is from the UK. Excellent. Man, it must be late for you. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for spending your time with me tonight. And I hope everybody else is having a wonderful evening. Isn't it funny, Heather, how we all kind of have our preference on what we do? Because I totally understand the people that do it the opposite way that I do. So I'm just sewing these squares together. And this makes half square triangles go so much faster. At least from my experience. There we go, back into the material and away we go. And I am being very wobbly tonight, sewing this line, but that's okay, it's not a big deal. I think if I remember correctly, I trimmed these. I'm not 100% sure. We'll get to that in a second. Hey, Donna, welcome in. I saw your live a little while ago. I was actually watching it as I was setting up for my live tonight. Let me get this one set up. And away we go. Trying to sew and watch at the same time is hard. Watching comments and sewing, watching chat I should say, and sewing is never easy. Donna, I need somebody like your husband to come watch the chat for me so that way I can focus on sewing and they can focus on the chat. My friend, the art Sherpa, John, her husband, also known as Stunt Hands, he's freaking amazing at what he does. He literally switches cameras, watches the chat, controls all the graphics. Like, it's a whole thing, and it's crazy. Heather, I know, buttons, pesky buttons. So very true. Alrighty. Let's go back over here. And actually, I'm going to take my face off of it so that way you can just see my project here. There we go. All right, so I've sewn all 3 of these. Now remember, I would have 4, but I've already done the 4th one. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to put it back onto this blue line. I'm going to take my rotary cutter, make sure that everything is lined up as best as I can, and then I'm just gonna go chop right down the middle, and I now have 2 half square triangles. I'm gonna do that again. And then I'm gonna press these. And one more. My blue line shifted on this one a little bit. I think it's going to be okay. As a reminder, everyone, tomorrow is the midterm elections. Please take the time to make your voice heard. Go vote. Don't forget, you are allowed, at least in some states. I know here in Texas, you are allowed to vote, and your workplace cannot stop you from voting. So make sure to go out there and vote. Oh, Donna's playing with her granddaughter, and so she's listening. Oh, no worries, Donna. I appreciate it so much. All right, let's go back. Hi. So I'm going to go over to my iron. I've got my iron already. It is heating back up, and so I'm going to press these open, and I'm pressing... Which way am I pressing on this block? That's what I thought. I'm going to press towards my turquoise fabric, and the way that I knew that is if I flip it over, I can see that I pressed towards the... Oh, you can't see that. Silly me. Let's see. There we go. So what I did is on this one, you can see that my seam allowance is actually being pressed towards my green fabric, my turquoise fabric. So when it's all said and done, it'll look like this. Linda says that she voted early the other day. Very good. Nancy Houston is here, and she says, hi, Ian, looking good. Thank you so much, Nancy. Now, is this the Nancy Houston that I know and is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or is this another Nancy Houston? All right, so my iron is heated up, so I'm just going to press these really quick. I can't see the chat at the moment, so please, by all means, chat amongst yourselves for just a second while I press these. It will not take me long at all to get these pressed out. So say hello to a friend, make a new friend, chat away. I'll get these pressed out. I just can't believe it's November. Is anybody else like just absolutely flabbergasted that we're we're in the holiday season now. Like, it is officially the holiday season. We've got Thanksgiving. Don't forget about Thanksgiving. We got Thanksgiving coming up. We just finished Halloween. I hope y'all joined me for my sewing video last Monday, which was Halloween, and where I got to sew with Sylvia for the first time, which was amazing. That was so much fun. By the way, Sylvia is my featherweight. If you missed that one, go check it out. It was a lot of fun. I got very excited because I figured out how to make it work. So you'll see me get very, very excited. It was a fun video. Dexter makes an appearance. It was a blast. I hope y'all enjoyed that one if you did see it, and if not, I hope you will take a moment to go back and watch that one. It was a fun video for sure. All right, pressing the last one here. All righty. Yes, it is. Okay, I thought so, Nancy. I was like, is this? Although it's funny because there's actually been another Nancy Houston in social media, and I'm like, I wonder if this is, and it wasn't you. I'm glad you're here. Welcome. I'll be working on this quilt at some point in the near future at your studio. All right, so let me double check. So what we need squares that are 3.5 by 3.5. I think, if I remember correctly, this is a little bit bigger than 3.5. It is. Why is this so big? Why did I don't remember why I forgot to turn the camera again, but this is actually a lot bigger. This is a 4.5. This is a 4-inch block for some reason. Let me double check myself. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything right and I'm not about to mess something up. Yeah, 3.25. 3.25. 3.25. Huh. That makes sense because this would be okay, so I trim these down to 3.5. Teresa, welcome. Guys, make sure to go check out my favorite, she said so in the chat, Nancy Houston. Go check out my wonderful quilter friend's website. She is the Very Thoughtful Quilter on social media platforms. Okay, maybe not as big as that. Okay, all right, fine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to trim these down. I apparently made them way too big, but that's okay. So I'm going to trim these down to 3.5 by 3.5 because that's the size block that we're going to be working with. Nancy, maybe you can teach me how to make a more precise half square triangle instead of having a ginormous one, but it's fine. This is fine. Everything's fine. That's my newest go-to. This is fine. Everything's fine. The Very Thoughtful Quilter is also on Instagram. You should definitely check out some of the amazing quilts that she's had the opportunity to work on. She has done a lot of mine. In fact, she has 3 sitting in her studio waiting to be worked on. Can't wait to see those when they come back to me. Mona did what? Pam asks, is there anyone out there that has done a memory quilt? Well, that's actually one of the quilts that Nancy is going to be working on for me. I took some shirts from a previous job because we got shirts all the freaking time at that job, and she's actually going to be taking them and doing her magic to them. I actually had enough shirts to do 2 quilts, and in fact I was going to do them like back to back, there would be a two-sided quilt. But man, those shirts just made that way too heavy. And so I decided, and under the guidance of Nancy, we both agreed that it would be better to do one-sided quilt using those t-shirts, because otherwise it was just going to be too big, bulky, and heavy. Yo, Petty G! I see your name, Patty, and I can't help it. All right, so I'm just trimming these up, getting them the right size. And I cut off the parrot's head. Poor parrot. Chopped its little head in half. How many of y'all have worked on a puzzle mystery quilt? By the way, if you want to check out the puzzle mystery quilt, use exclamation PMQ. That's puzzle mystery quilt PMQ. Go ahead and type that into chat and it should bring up the puzzle mystery quilt website from Cotton Cuts. So how many of y'all worked on the puzzle mystery quilts for So Sweet? I am loving this one. It came out so great. I mean, I haven't actually sewn everything together yet, but when I do, I know it's going to look amazing. I've laid out my quilt. When I got the final clue, I laid everything out so I could kind of see what it was going to look like, and I love it. I think it looks great. Thank you, Linda. Linda has just typed into chat exclamation point PMQ, Puzzle Mystery Quilt. And that will take you over to their website for you to check it out. And the next one up is going to be Village Green, which I am excited for, but I have no idea what that means. I'm gonna have to, when I did the So Sweet intro, I had a little skit. I was in a donut shop and all that kind of stuff. And for Piazza, I gave a little history and educational lesson on what a piazza is and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very interested to see what Village Green is about, and I don't know if I'm going to take it as kind of a funny little skit at the beginning, or if it's going to be a more educational video like I did for Piazza. We'll have to see. Sheila did one last year. Which one did you do, Sheila? Kate said that she's finishing the very one you're doing. She has the same colorway as I did, and she loves the colorway. Sorry, I was looking up at Heather. Poor Heather said, not me. I'm sorry, Heather. Trim it right there, I think. You'll notice that I kind of tried to frame my block. See, this one's not going to have very many heads or tails, but that's okay. It's just a few little peaks of feathers. It's also interesting depending on which, how your pieces get cut from the puzzle mystery quilt, which, by the way, I love the puzzle mystery quilts because all the pieces are cut for you. You don't have to worry about cutting anything out. There's no leftover scraps unless you make them from adding onto your quilt and stuff like that. And so it makes it a lot easier, at least in my opinion, because you can sit down for an hour or two, sew your clue, put it away, and you're on to the rest of the day or whatever you want to do. And so I really like the puzzle mystery quilts because they just make everything so simple, easy, ready to go, and all the different colorways. Each quilt comes out so incredibly different, even though it's the same pattern. There's something about it. I love it, and it just makes life so much fun. All right, so. Heather says, don't be sorry, it's my karma for spending too much money. Oh, dear Heather. Teresa did not do a puzzle mystery quilt, but I'm busy at the long arm listening. Excellent. Very cool. Very, very cool. All right, so let's go ahead and put this block together. And I'm going to put my... You know, it's honestly been so helpful having this little bucket on my table. It's been great for my little trash bucket and scrap bucket and all kinds of things. All right, so here is the pattern we're going to be working with. So I want my parrots, the one that has the parrot on it, that fabric, to be pointing in, and then directly across from it, I want that. And I talk about, in my puzzle mystery quilt videos, I talk about looking for the bow ties, because you'll notice that a lot of times there are bow ties that get formed as you're putting all the pieces together. So I talk about the bow ties a lot. A lot of the puzzle mystery quilts have points that kind of do that bow tie shape, so I talk about that a lot. Sheila did the Sparkle and Shine in the purple batiks. I posted a picture of it on the Sobecca website. That's awesome. Heather says, it has been a really rough year, as I said in my very first video. I'm so sorry to hear that. It's been a hard year for a lot of people. All right, so I'm gonna head over to my sewing machine. And let's see, I don't think it really matters which way I do this. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to kind of lay out my pieces, so that way I can just kind of grab and go. And I don't remember, let me look at my original block that I made, because I wanna try and copy the way that I pressed everything. And I have way too many of these. How did I miscount these? I don't know, but that's fine. Everything is fine. I am actually, no, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to turn on my iPad again so that way I can see your comments. Don't be sorry. Oh no, I read that one. Mona says, I like your new light. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna flip my original block over. And it looks like I did top and bottom first. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sew top and bottom together. So all I'm doing is just putting the top and bottom blocks together. Remember, we're using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Ooh, and my machine is trying to not, hey, play nicely, please. There we go. It was not wanting to play nicely there for a second. Had to tell it to be nice. Oh man. Speaking about money, I need to start thinking about Christmas presents for people, and that is giving me anxiety. It'll be fine. But it's kind of giving me a little bit of anxiety because there is so many gifts to buy for so many people, which I love. I love buying gifts and giving gifts. But like, you know, your holiday parties, not all of them are at the end of the month. Like for Christmas, a lot of times you have the whole month of December to get everything like ready. And I'm realizing now, like one of my parties that I'm going to is December 10th, and I'm like, oh my, I have like a month to get my gift together for that get together. So I'm like, oh boy, I need more time. And I'm one of those, I don't wait until the last minute usually, but this year has just like sped by and I have not paid attention. But it will be fine. It'll all work out. Oops. It will all work out. I also need to buy a gift for my niece, and I was originally going to give her a quilt, but I kind of realized that wasn't going to work out the way I wanted it to. So I'm trying to figure out, I almost want to buy her, apparently there's this like sewing machine that's for kids, and I really kind of want to get that for her. Like the needle's not exposed where they can get hurt. They can sew and be perfectly fine. So I'm almost tempted to get that for her because she's seen some of the things that I have been working on, and she kind of likes them. So I don't know. Mona said to make my gifts, and that is a good possibility. To be 100% honest with you, there's a good possibility that is going to happen. Gonna happen. All right, so I know you can't see, it's not a big deal. All I'm doing is just laying out my pieces to make sure that they are going the right direction. And I'm actually gonna take it over to the, I should have thought of that. I'm actually gonna take it over to the iron first because we're going to iron these out and go from there. Let's see. Mona asks, how old is she? You can get a needle guard. I have never heard of that before, Mona. I have not heard of a needle guard. She is 10, I think. I'm losing track of time, but I think she's 10. So I'm just going to press these out. Again, I'm pressing towards my turquoise fabric, away from my pattern fabric. And the reason I'm doing that is so that way the pattern fabric doesn't show through on the back side of my pattern. It's kind of white, so you could see through it if I did it that way. So I want to make sure that you're not seeing the backside of the pattern or anything like that. I tell you, this weekend I got a hankering, is that the right word? A hankering to work on some projects, and I'm very proud with the project that or the progress I made, I should say, on a project that will be coming very soon to my channel. I can't wait to show y'all. I'm actually pretty pleased with myself, if I do say so myself. I'm pretty pleased with how it's coming out, but I found myself wanting to, I found myself wanting to start a new project, and I was like, no, Ian, you've got a couple of other projects going on first. You need to finish those projects first before starting another one. And I'm glad I dove into the project that I was working on, because I needed to get that one progressed, and I promise you guys it is going to be a lot of fun when you watch it. So be on the lookout. You know, make sure to turn on your notifications and be on the lookout for some projects coming out from several of us very soon. Very, very soon. Wendy says, Bernina has the guard Mona is talking about. I'm going to have to check into that. Definitely going to have to check into that. All right, so I've ironed these so that way the seams nest. I'm just going to nest them into place. just like so. And away we go. Are y'all making your Christmas gifts, or are you buying a lot of yours? Let me know in the chat, because I'm curious as to what all you will be doing. Like I said, I think I may end up making several of my gifts, but I can't make them all because that I would be up until midnight every single night until the end of December, I think. But yeah. I am, like I said, I just can't believe it's already the holiday season again. And it seemed like, I don't know if it seemed like to y'all, but it seemed like even before Halloween was over, they already started playing the Christmas ads on TV. And I was just like, can we not make it through Halloween? Can we get to Halloween first and then, you know, then can we jump to Christmas? I was listening to Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, and they were talking about how early everything is. Lori, you're going to want to do !PMQ, and that will give you the link to the Puzzle Mystery Quilt, if that's what you're looking for. I think that's what you were trying to get at. I see the PMG, but I think you meant to do !PMQ in the chat, and that'll give you the URL for the Puzzle Mystery Quilts. They haven't put up Village Green info yet, so I don't know which colorway I want to do for that one yet, but we will see. Mona says making gifts for the ones that she likes. Or wait, making for ones that like that. Oh, okay, and then cash for the rest. That's fair. It's a good way to do it. Christine says, I'll be making all the gifts this year. Wow, that's a lot. That is a lot to work on. Sheila is making quilts for all 3 of her children, and she's also going to make cosmetic bags for the teenage granddaughters. That's awesome. Oh, no. Did I do it on all 3? Please tell me no. No, that one came out right. You're probably wondering what Ian's knowing at. It would not be an Ian quilt if I didn't mess it up somehow. All right, so here is our original block. Everything looks great. Again, this is a 6.5 by 6.5 inch block. We have another one that looks great. We have another one that looks great. And then we have wah. We have the wah block. So I gotta rip this out really quick. Yep, time for Jack. That's right. Yep, meet Jack. That's right. That's right, Donna. Meet Jack, shall we? I gotta rip this one out really quick, and then we'll resew it, and everything will be good to go. You just thought you were gonna see me get everything done in one try. You just thought that was going to happen. And then the sewing spirits said, "Ha ha, you think you'll get this done in one try? Think again." It's fine. It happens. At least you know it's not just you that has it happen. Everybody does it. Everybody. It happens. It totally happens. I'm being careful as I'm going through the center here because I've definitely accidentally ripped some blocks that I was working on previously. Not this one, thankfully, but in other projects I've definitely ripped right through the fabric and caused a big mess. So let's try it again, shall we? Oh, Mona tried the 8-ball. Yes. Heather says, seam ripper, you're my best friend. Seam ripper, right to the very end. So true. You're welcome. I don't plan on quitting my daytime job. All right, let's get this the right way, shall we? All right. I know I don't have the camera in the right place, but that's okay. It's literally just going to be me sewing this one super fast and we're good. Donna says, my favorite song, not. I hope I did it right this time. I'm pretty sure I did. I'm going to be so excited to go see Becca this month. That's like one of the things that I'm so looking forward to this month, is getting the chance to go meet Becca in person and sew with her in her studio and visit Washington, D.C. for the first time. I've never been to D.C., so this is going to be a very exciting trip for me. I can't wait for it. And I have a local with me who will show me all the things and take me to places that the tourists don't go and the locals do go. All right, I'm gonna iron these really quickly. It doesn't really matter which way you iron it, as you can see on this block. Doesn't really matter all that much which way is which. Did I do this block differently? I did do it differently. Well, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't matter. It all looks the same when it's all said and done with. It's the thought that counts, right, guys? It's the thought that counts. Oh, man. I thought I put it together exactly the same way that I did that first block. I thought whatever. It's fine. This is fine. I find myself saying that a lot. It's fine. This is fine. Ooh, what happened? We got a super chat. Thank you, Donna, so much for the super chat. I heard the noise and I'm like, something happened. And of course it had to happen while my back was turned, but that's all right. Thank you so much, Donna. That is so sweet of you. I really do appreciate that. It does help my channel. Everybody make sure to go subscribe to Donna. Handmade by Ying with Donna. Finally said the channel name right that time. Make sure to go subscribe to her. She's done some really great interviews with some really awesome quilters, sewing enthusiasts, and the like. And let me put this on here. All right, there we go. There are 4 Cornerstone blocks that are going to go onto the completed So Sweet quilt whenever it's all said and done. Pretty easy life tonight, right? Like nothing too crazy. We actually got done before 8 o'clock, and that was with time to sit and chat and all that kind of stuff. So that's what's happening with that. I've got some leftover pieces now, because this one was the 5 3/4. So I've got some extra pieces left. Why did I cut so many of these squares? I don't know why I have so many of those squares left over, but I do. Becky, welcome. Finally watching you live. Gotta say, I really enjoy your stuff. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Love the colors. I do too. I cannot wait. And with this pink, with this pink in here, I'm gonna move these off to the side there. It's just gonna look so, oh, and you put it right where your box is, Ian. Great job. Great job. There we go. It's gonna look so good when it comes together, and I can't wait. The binding is really gonna set it off, I think, and I think these cornerstones are really going to kind of make a difference in how the quilt looks. Like it's going to look like, and that's another thing that I love about the Puzzle Mystery Quilt. I'll come back to me. Another thing I love about the Puzzle Mystery Quilt is that the large and small quilts they're not exactly the same, but they very much are. Like the large quilt is not just a blown up version of the smaller quilt. Like they each are very similar and like, but there's just more to the big quilt and the smaller quilt. Does that make sense? Like, I just love that it's not the large quilt isn't just a blown up version of the small quilt. They're their own entities, even though they look very similar. And the colorways make such a difference as well. I've seen several people posting their beignet, I've seen a churro, I've seen several different ones. And my quilt looks so completely different from theirs because other elements are brought out with those color fabrics. And it's such a cool program. I love them a lot. Nancy says, so glad to be with you tonight. You're a natural. Oh, whatever, Nancy. I am. And did you not see me screw up that block? It's whatever. Very pretty colors. Love those the colors pop. They complement each other. That's a good way to put it, Heather, is the two quilts complement each other very well because they're very similar to each other, but they're not exactly the same. It's something about it that I really like. I don't FMQ and can't send it out. This is where I struggle. I can't. I cannot read tonight. Apparently, I can only straight line, and I worry I'm not going to do my finished quilt justice. I have a small and large, and excited for both. Becky, don't worry. The straight line quilting is going to look amazing on it. Honestly, that's another element added into this Puzzle Mystery Quilts is the fact that people quilt them in so many different ways. And it's so great to see the different ways that people quilt and the different ideas. Some people do, they'll actually go in and do the long arm quilting to complement the design. Others will use, I a lot of times will do edge to edge on mine, and I like the way that looks a lot of times. That's what I did for several of them, and I think all of them. Yeah, all of them so far I've done edge to edge. Nancy Houston, who's here in the chat with us, she does a lot of my Puzzle Mystery Quilts for me and does an amazing job with them. And then I worked on Sparkle and Shine. I rented her machine and did Sparkle and Shine, and of course she helped me. She's amazing. So patient with me as I'm trying to remember how to do everything. But it's going to be interesting to see what I end up doing once this comes together, because a lot of times Nancy and I collaborate on what do we think is going to be best for this quilt. What is going to really work for this quilt. And so a lot of times edge to edge is perfect and exactly what I need. A lot of these quilts are not going to be show quilts. They're literally quilts that I use. So they don't have to have a complicated or complex design or quilted to death kind of design. They'll just be something that's easy to do edge to edge a lot of times. You can always stitch in the ditch and it will look beautiful. That is absolutely true. Becky, a stitch in the ditch looks really good on quilts as well. So don't worry about your quilting. Straight line quilting, I have a quilt that's off camera here that is a straight line quilting and I love how it came out. My lines are not straight on it for sure. The quilt, it's a mini quilt and it ended up getting kind of like a curve in the middle. It's literally like I was going along straight and then it like does this weird dip thing. You can't tell from this far away. Like, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. So, all right, guys, I think that's going to do it for today. Short, sweet, to the point. I'm going to be looking at what I have on the schedule. I don't know if I'm going to go live next Monday. We'll have to play things by ear, and I will let you know. I have a video or a live event that I want to do using the Cricut, and they have released the card mat. It is a 2x2 card mat for the Cricut Maker, and I have yet to experiment. I have the cards, I have the 2x2 mat, I just haven't had the time to sit down and use it. And I'm wondering if this might not be a great time to do that, because we've got Christmas coming up and Christmas cards would be great. I also need a lot of birthday cards. I have not hardly sent out any birthday cards this year, and I need a stash of birthday cards. So we may be working on that next week. I haven't decided yet. Regardless, make sure to click subscribe and click the bell notification icon, and then also make sure to turn on those notifications on your devices, whether it be mobile or computer. Make sure to turn on those notifications so that way you actually get the notifications when you ring that bell. What is going on? Wow. Oh, interesting. Heather says there are tearaway FMQ designs that you can buy and use as well. That's an interesting idea. Oh, Nancy Houston says, and you can sew decorative stitches into the straight lines too. That's absolutely right. Your machine, more than likely, if you have even some of the basic machines, they have decorative stitches in them that you can use and do that way. So that's a great idea. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. There we go. I hope everybody has a great week. We're kicking things off right and getting going. Don't forget, tomorrow, go out and vote. If you haven't already voted early, make sure to get out there to the poll. Go vote, make your voice heard, and make sure to subscribe to my channel so that way you get updates on when I'm going to go live next or post a new video. Also, go check out last week's video if you missed it on Halloween. I'll tell you, it was a lot of fun. I had a good time with that one. Hope everybody has a great night. And remember, guys,